story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Hey riders, Kevin Wilson with BMX Brokers Southern California here, and I want to make a personal invitation out to you for you guys to check out our YouTube channel, our website if you want to sell something. If you bleed BMX, check us out, subscribe to the channel, keep the rubber side down, and don't forget to watch the lights. Peace out.
So we're here with Kevin Wilson, BMX bike extraordinaire and builder enthusiast. So, Kevin, it's a real pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited, man. I'm seeing some of the questions that I'm going to be asking you, and I'm really interested to learn more about the history and your history of BMX, and
there you go.
My personal favorite.
Well, I got a jaded history, so
okay. Don't we all, right? So I actually I grew up loving bicycles, man. It was really like my escape. Every kid's got their hobby, their thing that they love to do.
Yep.
Me and my buddies, I'm still buddies with them. We used to ride miles and miles on the weekends, summer break, and the 120-degree weather out here and whatnot. Just
back in the days where you could leave at 8 o'clock in the morning and you come back for dinner, and then you don't come back home the whole day. That's what I did too.
Yeah. And so this is a passion for me as well, so I'm totally vibing with you. I love it. So
nice.
I'm really excited. But I want to know, like, what sparked your interest in BMX?
So it's kind of like my BMX past is kind of checkered. Where when I was younger, it started out when I lived in Glassell Park, California, and I used to jump. I had an old Stingray bike, and I used to jump milk crate. I put a board on a milk crate. I used to jump trash cans in front of my friend's house, and my old Stingray. And then from there, I graduated. Once I got a little bit older, in the third grade, I got a real bike. I got a Mongoose Motomag nickel-plated Mongoose. So it just went from there, and I started racing when I was younger. And once I started racing, it just went off the hook. I never went to school. It was crazy. I used to drive my mom nuts. We used to take our bikes apart in the living room while we're watching TV, and we would drop the bearings on the carpet.
Yeah.
So my mom would have bearing circles on our carpet from the grease. So I've been doing this for a long time, and I just never grew up. I just keep wanting to buy more bikes and collect them and sell them and deal with them and all that type of thing.
That's great. Yeah, we're going to dig a little bit more into your bike collection here in a few minutes. But no, I totally feel you, man. Building bikes is just what a great hobby and a fun time to spend with your friends growing up.
I get emails all the time from other guys in the industry where they say, dude, you have the greatest job in the world because you get to do this for a living.
Right.
And I go, yeah. The best way to make $1 million in collecting bikes is to start with 2. but with all seriousness, I get emails from people, hey, what do you think about this bike? How can I do? How can I get into doing what you're doing? And, you must have the greatest. You have the greatest job in the world, and it is fun, but it's challenging like everything else. And you just got to know what you're doing.
Absolutely. That actually leads me into my next question here because, as you're still doing it now, you run BMX Brokers of Southern California.
Yes.
So tell me about that. What is it?
So it's a funny story because I wanted to start. I drive a truck. And I watch a lot of YouTube videos.
Okay.
And I was watching some YouTube videos, and I said, you know what? I like to make a couple videos and tell people stories about growing up, because everyone has their stories when they're all around the Christmas table or the Thanksgiving table, where they say, remember that time where you did this and that. Well, for our family, it's always my brother and I telling stories about what we did when we were younger, about the exploits of how we got in trouble and that type of thing on our bikes. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to tell that story and share, and maybe have some other people tell their stories. So I was filming my initial videos, and the guy that was filming it said, you need to come up with a business to back the videos. And I said, I do? He goes, yeah, don't you have a hobby? And I go, well, yeah, I kind of buy BMX bikes on the side. And he goes, there you go, that's your business. I go, okay, all right, so what do you want to call it? And I said, I don't know, BMX Brokers of Southern California. And that's how it literally started.
Wow.
In a 30-second conversation. And it just blew up from there. It was 8 months ago when this whole thing started. And that's where the whole idea for BMX Broken Southern California came from.
That's great.
So, ironically enough, that next day I found a bike in Oceanside that I bought for a good deal. It was a really nice bike, and I made about $600 on it after I sold it. And I used that seed money, and I just kept buying more bikes, selling them, and grew to what I got right now.
So, do you custom build them for somebody if they say, hey, I want this specific, or are you just finding these great bikes, building them how you feel like they should be built, and then selling them that way?
Right. I don't build anything. I take it apart.
Okay.
So I'm sure you've heard the old adage that a car is worth more in parts than it is. It's worth more in parts than it is together.
Yeah.
And the same thing's true with the bike. A bike, you could buy a bike for $700-800. But if you piece it out, you can sell the parts for like $1,200-1,300.
Gotcha.
The problem why most people don't do it is it's work.
Yeah.
You have to list this thing that they got on eBay. You have to put them online. So a lot of people where they have one bike, it's not worth it for their time and effort to do that. Okay. But if I'm buying 7-8 bikes a week, 10 bikes a week, and I have someone that's helping me take them apart, it's worth it to me. I have the time and the facilities to go ahead and take care of that for them.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
that's what I do. So I have a team of guys that go out all over Southern California. And they grab bikes for me, they bring them back, and it's like a chop shop in my garage. Boom, boom, we take them out. They come in my garage. 15 minutes later, they're in parts, pictures taken on eBay.
Wow.
Getting bids.
Yeah. So once you got it down like that, man,
it's kind of funny. I'll be laying on the couch watching TV, and my phone will be going ding, 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 because I'm getting eBay bids. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of a fun thing to do.
That is a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, dealing with your passion.
Yeah.
Okay, so then, now tell me, what was your greatest bike purchase and recovery? And I want to hear about the worst one too.
So,
wherever you want to start first.
That's cool. The worst one was the worst one. I actually did a YouTube video on this one. It was probably, I don't know, a couple months ago, where I had purchased a Torker. There was a 1983 Torker that I bought online, and I'd been watching this Torker go for sale for a couple weeks, and he started at like $2,500 for the bike. And it went down to 23, 23. And I came out of the woodwork and I offered him 22 for it. And he took it. So it was one of those things where it was on OfferUp. And when you're on OfferUp, you can't have their phone number, right? So you have to do everything over their app. So I'd message the guy saying, hey, let me get that bike. And he'd take 2 days to respond to me. And I think so I think that, oh my gosh, he doesn't want to sell it to me. So for a second there, I thought I was getting catfished, where someone was messing with me and just making me, so he made me drive up to Pasadena. I went up to Pasadena. I met him at a different location. So it was all kind of real clandestine.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting the bike. It was $2,200 for a Torker, 83 Torker. And I thought that I had a really great purchase. I thought I could make a lot of money on it, and I got it back home. I put it online, and nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted it. So it took me about 3 months. It took me 3 months. I parted it out. I had to put it online, the different Facebook groups, trying to sell the bike.
Wow.
I couldn't sell it together. I pieced it out, and I think I lost like $100 on it. Now, financially, that wasn't that big of a loss, but emotionally, I was like, I was devastated.
Hurt.
I was devastated because I thought I hit a home run. And so there was one time my best purchase from my standpoint was it was a 1984 SE quad angle, and it was the same thing. It was on OfferUp, and the guy wanted $3,000 for it. And I don't have like some big bucket of money in my house. I got to scrape and sell bikes to get that money to get the bike. So I reached out to him, and over the course of about 2 weeks, we talked back and forth, and I was trying to massage him a little bit, see if I can get him down a little bit. Well, I had made another video that's on my YouTube channel right now about me driving up there and getting it. And it turns out that I went up there, got it, and I purchased the bike, and I brought it back. Now, this is a very sought-after bike, very sought-after. A lot of people want these bikes. And so I put it on eBay for some astronomical amount, and I didn't sell it like that. But so it was a pretty good deal. But ironically it's always good to find the diamond in the rough, right? The bike that's been sitting in the garage for 40 years, that no one's seen, and that the guy rode it in high school, and he just went to college, he put it in the garage, and it sat there till he got married, right? Those are so hard to find. And there's so many people looking for those bikes. My bread and butter is the 250 to 350 range of bicycles, where they're out there, you can get them. They're not too expensive, yet you can buy them and still make money on them and take them apart and resell them. So 250 to 350 is my sweet spot. If I could get a bike for that, I can still make money and I can still have a good time. But the best part about what I do is that when my customers, when they find the bike that they had when they were growing up, like your dyno.
That's right, like my dyno.
And it just sparks in their brain. They say, oh my gosh, that was my childhood bike. I want that bike so bad. And they reach out and they say, you know what, I'll take it, Kevin, no problem. And I try to be fair with them. I'm not trying to take advantage of anybody.
Right.
It's great to see the smile on their face, and they say, thanks a lot for hooking me up. And so it's really fun like that. So that's why that's part of the best.
I'm glad you brought up my dyno, because we were talking off camera about that. My dyno nitro, charcoal gray with red lettering. And my best friend who I used to ride with, he saw one just like it at a swap meet a few years back, and he kicked himself for not buying it for me. He was like, I should have bought that thing for you. I know how much you loved your bike. So we may be in touch for that. Huh?
And my brother designed that bike, by the way.
No kidding.
Yeah, my brother was the product manager for dyno for many years.
Oh, that's great. So you've got family history.
It's definitely right. My brother's been in the industry for 35 years, and
wow.
I left it, and I went in the Marine Corps after I got out of high school, and then I came back to it later on in life. So
okay. Yeah. Well, you can't get rid of your first love. Okay. So next one here, man. What is your favorite hot seat BMX story?
Okay, so for those that haven't heard of Hot Seat BMX Stories, that's my YouTube channel that I started first, and that's how this whole thing blossomed, was telling my stories.
That was the birth of BMX Brokers.
The birth of exactly right. So my favorite story was when I went to Mexico with my friend. We were 16 years old. My brother and I actually got invited down to Mexico, down to Guadalajara for the summer from one of our close friends, and we went down there. I was 16 years old. My brother was 14, and we had the run of Guadalajara. No parental supervision. We had a couple $100 for the summer, and we went off. I learned how to speak Spanish. I got cheated. I met a bunch of cool people. I raced down there. I raced the pro class down there when I was 16, and it was just a great experience. So I like that story that I told. It was really interesting. I got a lot of positive feedback on it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So that makes more sense then. So the Hot Seat was the original YouTube channel that birthed the BMX Brokers.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's a great story, man. I love my stories from being childhood in Mexico.
It was the worst.
Unadulterated.
It was the worst experience. They put it. My friend's father put us on a train out of Mexicali to go to Guadalajara, and you're thinking, I was thinking, okay, no, a train, they got like the snack bar and stuff like that. No. This is like a train with the broken windows.
You're over there pumping this.
Yeah.
You're making the train move. Huh?
Yeah, no. It was no windows, no air conditioning. In the middle of the summer, there's no beverage car, nothing like that. They stop every couple hours, and there's the guys roll up with the jicama and that type of thing. You buy your jicama and you get back on the train and you keep going.
Yeah, that's great stories right there. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
How old do you think you were around that?
I was 16. Yeah.
16 years old.
Yeah, no parental supervision in the middle of Mexico.
That's fun. That's great.
Yeah.
So a lot of years have gone by, and you've got a lot more stories to tell and a lot more bikes to share. But what's your future plans now? I mean, what's next?
What's next? Good question. We're going to be rolling out a new mobile services function for my business. And let's say that there was a guy selling your dyno, and he's in Texas. And you call this guy and you say, I want this dyno. Say you found it on eBay or Craigslist or something like that. And you say, hey, you reach out to him and say, I love your dyno. I want to buy it. Can you please ship it to me? And the guy in Texas goes, you know what? Sorry, bro. I don't ship the bike, man.
Okay.
I'll sell you the bike, but I'm not going to ship it. I don't want to deal with the shipping. I don't want to deal with packaging it up. if you were local, I'd sell it to you, but sorry, you're out of luck. And you're like, oh my gosh, you're devastated. Well, what we're doing now is we're going to be rolling this out in the next couple of weeks where you could actually call me and say, hey, Kevin, there's a bike down in San Diego, my dyno that I want when I was a kid. Can you please go down there and grab it for me? We'll actually send one of my drivers down there, pick up the bike for you, bring it back to my office, our corporate headquarters, my garage, and pack it up, professionally pack it up, professionally box it, ship it out for you, to you, and you get your bike.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yes.
That's great. Yeah, because I know shipping can be a real bear for some people, and they just want to, they want to sell something.
They want to sell it, but they don't want to deal with the headaches of having to get it to you, right? So you coordinate the payment with the customer, and you say, Kevin, here's the address. Have your guy go down there. My driver will reach out to him, say, this is Easy Ed with BMX Brokers. What time's good for you? We'll be there in an hour. Pick it up, bring it back to my house, and we pack it up and ship it out. All insured. The vehicles are all insured. We're all good to go.
Of course.
And so we take care like that. So that's one thing that we're doing. We're also doing some classified. I just rolled out a couple weeks ago. We rolled out some our classified function where a lot of times where you're selling stuff on Facebook, like the Facebook groups. There's hundreds of Facebook groups for BMX bikes, right? I'm not the only guy that does this. There's guys out there that are much more knowledgeable than I am that do this stuff. And when you go out like some of the BMX forums on Facebook, if you have a bike, you had that, say you had your dyno and you didn't know, you were like, I really don't know what it's worth. I don't want to get taken.
Yeah.
I want to get I don't want to cheat someone, but I don't want to get taken either. It's very hard for someone like you that doesn't know what it's worth because you're going to go on to the Facebook group and you're going to say, hey, does anybody know what my bike is worth? And you immediately get lambasted with negative comments like, do your homework, we're not here to give you an appraisal, put a price on it. So newer guys that come into the industry or come into the hobby, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to deal with this stuff. And then they say, well, can I take an offer? So give me your best offer. So they put an ad on there saying taking offers. And then that's a no-no too because people get mad online. So you get lambasted for that. You get lambasted if you ask too much. Like you think, okay, I can't ask what it's worth, right? So I'm going to put a price on there. And if you happen to put a price that people think is too high, you get lambasted with comments that's too high. So, and you can't put videos, you can't put your phone number on some of these different things. So I got tired of dealing with all this stuff because I sell a lot of stuff, right? I buy a lot of stuff. So what I want to do is I say, you know what? Forget this. I want to create a place where you could sell stuff with no restrictions, right?
Yeah.
No restrictions. So you can go onto my website and you could sell your dyno. You could say, can someone please tell me what this thing's worth? And no one's going to send you an email saying you should do your research.
Great. Yeah.
You could put a link. You can make a video of the bike saying, here's my bike. The parts of it with the video. You could post that video on your for sale ad on my site. You could link your YouTube channel if you have a business. You can link your YouTube channel to that ad. You can link your Instagram. You can link your Facebook, and you could put your phone number. You could do whatever you want. There's no restrictions, and you could ask. You could say I'm taking offers, and they go and you can put your phone number, and people can contact you directly. And you can make an informed decision about how you want to buy it, how do you want to sell it, and who you want to sell it to.
That's
essentially what the whole thing is.
Now, so then they don't ever have to bring it to your shop?
No.
They just sell it from their home?
Yeah, it's just like Craigslist or these other different things, but you could do anything that you want. You could post videos.
That's terrific, man.
I mean, right, what sells better than the video, right? I mean, pictures are good, but if you can use a video, you can explain it, you could show it. You could show someone riding it. You could whatever you get creative. You could make your own YouTube video of you doing building it, whatever the case may be. So it's real for the creative people that want to get something sold. That's
fantastic. And even for people out of state, they can still use this
anywhere
service
worldwide.
They're going to be willing to ship it. And
they're shipping
stuff.
It right.
But hey, at least they've got a forum where they're respected and where they know that other people have the same level of interest. That's great.
And then they can also go. So if it's a local sale, right? they can contact us, and we'll deliver the bike for them. We'll actually facilitate the delivery, the handling of the bike. Yeah. So if you, so say that you sold something on eBay and you don't want to have, you don't want to ship it, but you're local around here, you can say, Kevin, come on down here and pick it up and ship it out for me, and we'll do that too.
That's
mobile
great.
services.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
So for those that are ready to shut this thing off and jump on your website, I'll ask you again towards later, but your YouTube website, everything's all listed under BMX Brokers of Southern California?
Correct, yeah. Cool. Yeah, you'll see my mug on a bunch of videos, and hopefully I'll have other people telling their BMX stories soon.
That's exciting, man. That's a great those are great plans.
yeah. I'm trying.
Yeah.
Some things are going a little slower than other ones, but we'll see how we'll still have it rolled out.
That's all right. Yeah. It's and it's an interesting time as well, right now to kind of be doing this stuff. So I love that you're getting people back outdoors that are, enjoying riding bikes and not riding segways and
and the COVID money is good too.
Yeah, exactly.
The COVID money, people are like, oh my gosh, now I got money, I can go buy another bike.
Yeah, now I can go back and buy that.
Exactly
bike
right. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a few some specific favorites that I'm sure a lot of the viewers want to know that kind of dig a little bit deeper into BMX, and a guy with your knowledge, experience, maybe you can shed some light. So we're going to start off with a favorite track because you mentioned racing earlier, and I know you probably watch a lot of racing, BMX racing on YouTube and all that. So favorite track?
Ironically, I didn't start, even though I've been on a BMX bike my entire life, a younger life actually. I didn't start racing until I was 16, which nobody starts at 16. Yeah. Normally you start racing when you're like 9 or 8 or something. But Azusa, California, there's the ABA track. That was my favorite track. That was my home track. I was there. We used to ditch school during the day, take our bikes apart, dial them in, and then we used to ride our bikes from South Pasadena to Azusa.
Dang.
And go race, and then hitchhike a ride back from the track back to South Pasadena.
So simpler times, huh?
Yeah, simpler times. So I used to drive my mother crazy because I was never at school. I was always out riding and racing and stuff like that. Azusa, ABA.
Okay.
California.
And is that track still open?
No. It actually it's a dirt lot now, but it's still there. They haven't built nothing on it. It's in the back of the Elks Lodge and right at the mouth of the Azusa Canyon.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, that's a lot of fun there. All right, next one here. Wheel preference. I don't know what you get. Is there a couple that
for the collector's hobby? I prefer the Moto Mags, right? There's the Moto Mags and there's stuff wheels, and then there's spoked wheels. Can't see right now, but these are all spoked wheels. For the collector's hobby, Moto Mags, just because Moto Mags are worth a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't see those anymore.
Yeah, they're
and for some of the viewers that don't know what a Moto Mag wheel is,
it's a magnesium wheel that looks like a spider web. So they have the initial part of the wheel go out, and then in the middle of those, there's little spider web type of thing. Those are the Moto Mags. So that was the original BMX wheel from back in the late 70s.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, what about the back in the 80s? They used to have those solid plastic. Like GT was kind of known for them, right? Where they didn't necessarily have spokes. It was more of a solid piece that went around.
That was called you talking about kind of like a moon disc on a car?
Yeah.
Those are actually freestyle wheel covers.
Oh, okay.
So those are actually wheels themselves. Those are plastic covers that are put on there, and with little Allen bolts just for looks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah. But when I raced in my heyday, it was all spoke wheels. They're lighter. They're more stiff, and that's what you want to do when you race. But from the collector's hobby, Moto Mags.
Moto Mags. All right. Preferred crank length. Now that's a big one, and that was one of the things that I loved about my dyno that I never found on another BMX bike was just the way that it felt when I pedaled, and as a younger kid I didn't realize the crank length and all that stuff. It
is important, yeah. 180s for me. 180 millimeters, I should say. It would fluctuate between 175 and 180, and you think 5 millimeters, that's not very That's not very big, right? But it makes a world of difference when you're racing.
It sure does.
Yeah, so 180s, and I always rode one-piece Takagi cranks, 180 length, and because I never wanted to pay for redline flight cranks. It was too much.
Yeah, they were pricey. I remember that. Okay, Kevin, this is a good one here, and this is one that's kind of gotten lost at a lot of youngsters, and people don't realize that there's so many great BMX movies out there. So I got to know, what's your favorite and what's your second favorite? I mean, there's some good ones out there.
This is the funny part because I know that one of your colleagues loves Rad, right? Loves the movie Rad. And I was talking to him the other day, and I was like, you know what? I really haven't even seen the whole movie. I've seen parts of it, right?
Yeah.
I've seen parts of the movie, but I've never sat down. And I was telling my wife the story on the way home last night, and I told her, I said, yeah, I told the guy I didn't even watch the whole movie. She goes, how could you not watch the movie? Because I've been married to you for 24 years, and all you do is talk about BMX. There's BMX bikes in the house, on my table, under the bed. How could you not watch the movie? And I said, well, it's kind of like an Air Force pilot watching Top Gun, or a Navy fighter pilot watching Top Gun. It's so like, this never happens. This is crazy. They don't talk like that. They don't race like that. So that's kind of like for me. But I know that many, many, many people love the movie Rad or BMX Bandits. That's the whole thing.
Okay.
People say, I say BMX Bandits because Nicole Kidman was in it.
Oh.
That's my favorite BMX movie, I guess. But they're still cheesy. But
yeah,
BMX Bandits is better than Brad for me.
Okay. That's great. Recommend watching both of them, though. You know,
you watch both of them, yeah. Maybe I'll go home after this interview and I'll put Rad on.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That way you get all the way through it. All right, back to bikes here. Now, pedal preference. You know, you got clip-ins. You got your regular flat spikes. I've got plenty of scars up and down my ankles.
I got
from
right
them,
too. Yeah.
So yeah, I see them. So, for you, what's your favorite?
I never clipped in. I was always flat pedal guy. Now, of course, when I raced back in 85, 83, 84, 85, there was really no one was clipping in really. When I came back into the hobby, when I was in my middle 40s, I would race, and I still didn't clip in. So I never really clipped in. I clip in on my mountain bike, but the BMX bikes, flats all the way.
Yeah. Here's another one for you, Kevin. Seatpost preference. You know, do you like it? You like it straight up? You like it laid back? You know, like, and then you can kind of how you like your seat post too.
When layback seat posts came out in the early '80s, they were all the rage, right? It was like, oh my gosh, you have to have your layback seat post, especially with a lot of freestylers to give them room to do their tricks, jump up off the bike, roll around, stuff like that, spin around. Laybacks were very, very, very popular. I did a little bit of freestyle. I was more of a racer, so racing was straight post all the way. When I was 14, 13, something like that, I had a layback seat post, but it puts you too far back, and I think they're kind of ugly. I think this one has a little bit of layback on it.
Yeah,
but they always bent, right? So if you landed too hard or if you're a little too heavy and you rode your seat all the time, over the years they would just go a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So
yeah,
I just stuck with the straight post.
And that makes perfect sense, especially for racing. You know, you want to have that seat right there. You want to be able to crank and and come straight back down. But in the freestylers, you need to have a little bit more of that leg room and play. So that's great, man. You know, some things that you just don't think of, you know.
Exactly right.
Now, do you like having front brakes or no front brakes?
That's a freestyle thing as well.
Sure.
Where a lot of now there are racers that used to run front brakes. I get that, but for the most part, it was just rear brakes. Now, front brakes were for freestyle, right? So you had front and rear brakes if you were a freestyler. I ran them both actually. Now that I look back, I think I ran them both when I was younger, but I ended up being rear brakes only. Just because there was less parts on the bike was lighter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like, why have extra if you don't need it?
Right. And you're racing, brakes. When you're racing, brakes mean nothing, right?
Right. Yeah. Nobody's using them.
It's like the gumball rally when a guy pulls off his rearview mirror. Yeah. What is behind me is not important. The brakes, who cares about brakes? You don't want to stop anyways.
Yeah, if they weren't required, it wouldn't be on there, right?
Maybe you're right.
So I guess the right answer is it depends on what you're into.
It depends what you're into. Sometimes you're going to a turn or you're trying to pass someone. You might want to tap your front brake once or twice to get you a little bit of room between the guy that you're trying to pass, and you could pass him on the inside. But for the most part, it's just rear brakes.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. I appreciate the explanation. And what about your helmets? You like an open face?
Open face all the way, man.
Okay.
Yeah, open face. We had the option of doing an open face or a closed face. Closed face is a traditional helmet with the thing around your mouth. Now, all mothers would rather have the closed face because they're safer, but they don't look half as cool, right?
Right.
So we had the open face where we used to pop our visor way up. We used to put stickers on the front of our visor so people could see it. We wear goggles, and they have what's called face masks, where little thing that go across chin, and they go across your chin.
Okay.
So we used to wear that.
Yeah.
Open face, much cooler.
Totally cooler.
Much cooler. Like in my logo, there's a little open face helmet in my logo.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Great. I'm sure that we'll see that here on the screen. So. Well, what about, this is way more specific. I wouldn't have any idea how to answer this one here, but gear ratio. And I guess that also depends on what you're into.
And what track you're racing, too.
Oh, okay.
So typically if it's a downhill track or it's not flat, if there's a little bit of a downgrade, you might want to have a little bit higher gear in front, maybe a 45, 44. But I rode 43 in the front and 17 in the back. And once again, you think it's only one more little sprocket.
Yeah, one tooth.
One more tooth, but it does make a difference. So a lot of guys ran 44 18. I rode 43 17. Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you 43 17, you get quicker out of the gate. It's a faster pedal, easier pedal, but if you're going downhill, it's just like in a car where the harder you'd be spinning out and you couldn't keep up with your pedal. That's why you want the bigger gear in front. But for all intents and purposes, 43/17.
Okay, yeah, so I wouldn't know, and that's really the main sprocket right there that the pedal attaches to, or are you replacing the rear there as well?
Okay, so the bigger number is going to be the sprocket in front. The smaller number is going to be on the rear wheel.
Okay.
So you can increase or decrease how hard it is to pedal by replacing either the front one or the smaller one.
Perfect.
Yeah, whatever you like to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of variation that you can do.
Yeah.
Excellent. Whatever you're comfortable with then. Okay. This is a good go back into history and all the way into modern right now. But favorite race frame.
Pre-1985, it was a Scott Enterprises PK Ripper, bar none. That was my favorite bike, favorite frame. That's what I rode. That's what I raced. Then after 85, I got on a JMC Andy Patterson, and the rest was history. I never touched it. I never went back to nothing else but the JMC Andy Patterson. The funny story is because my sponsor in Alhambra, Main Bikes, I've done a couple videos on Main Bikes, but they actually contacted JMC because when the company actually, Jim Melton Cyclery, he actually kept very, very detailed records of the frames that he sold to different bike shops. So I actually called him when he was still alive. Unfortunately, he passed. But when he was still with us, I actually reached out to him and I said, "Hey, would you happen to know the serial numbers of the Andy Pattersons that you sent to Main Bikes in Alhambra?" And he goes, "Sure." So he actually sent me an email with my two Andy Pattersons that I owned, and I have I still know the serial numbers to this day. And I've searched for them for years now, and no one has them. Dang. No one. So either they're in a garage somewhere.
Yep, probably.
Or they've been recycled and they're long gone. But the funny part about it is that just that frame and fork alone is probably $6,000 now on the open market, and if you can find one for sale. So I actually contacted the guy that I sold it to in high school. And I contacted him on Facebook, and I said, "Hey, dude, do you still have that Andy Patterson that I sold you back in 85 or 86?" And he goes, "What Andy Patterson?"
Oh,
he didn't remember that I sold it to him. He's like, "I bought your Andy Patterson." I said, "Yeah, man." He goes, "Oh, That bike's been gone for years, man. I have no idea what happened to it. So that my last strain of hope to get that bike disappeared on me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anybody has AP215, let me know.
Yeah. Right away.
That's the serial number, AP215.
You lost that piece of your heart, you know. You want to get it back.
Right. So imagine if some guy had AP215 and he was in New York, and I called him and he goes, "Yeah, I'll sell it to you, but I'm not gonna ship it."
Well, it looks like you're taking a flight out there.
Right. That's where my service comes into play.
I can dig it.
Yeah.
Now, there was a lot of really great BMX brands out in the 80s, and you've got to have a favorite.
JMC.
JMC.
Yeah, back to JMC. The geometry on the bikes was so good, so stiff. When you really cranked on that thing out of the gate, it didn't flex. You got all your energy to the back wheel. It was a great thing.
Are they still in business?
No.
Okay.
No, they folded in '86, I believe, because of the bikes being produced in Taiwan, and they didn't want to deal with it. So he said no thanks. But from what I've heard is several people have approached his family and asked, "Can we revive it?" And they say no. They don't want to tarnish the legacy. Man. It's like a JMC. If you find a JMC now, it's like finding a Hemi Cuda convertible, like a '70 Hemi Cuda convertible in a garage. Mm-hmm. It's that it pulls that much interest. It's incredible.
Thought, you know?
Yeah, who would have thought?
Great.
Yeah.
So you've also got to have a favorite team and rider.
My favorite team was the team I was on, and my favorite rider was me.
An easy one.
I'm really when I bought my first bike, my dad got it for Christmas when I was in 3rd grade, and he said, "Let's go." I had been bugging him for years to get a good bike. Right, I had this crappy Schwinn Stingray it was just a real piece of junk. So I'd be begging him for years, "Can I please have a real bike? Can I please have a real bike?" So he goes, finally for Christmas one year, he goes, "Okay, we're gonna go get bikes." So he got my brother and I. He got us in the van. We drove down. And where we found Maine Bikes in Alhambra, I have no idea. We lived in South Pasadena, which is probably about 10, 15 miles from Alhambra. And we showed up there on a Saturday afternoon, and my dad said, "Pick out some bikes." So my brother picked out the Mongoose. I picked out a Jag. They were both, there was like, what was it, 78 or 79 when we got these bikes. And after that, we were just wanted to go to Maine Bikes to get our parts, right? Even though there was bike shops closer to our house, we always wanted to go to Maine Bikes. Fell in love. We befriended the owner. He took care of us. We'd ride our bikes down. I also did a video on this whole Maine Bikes thing too. Sure. But so we'd go down there and we'd bug him. We'd sit there and bug him for hours during the summer on weekdays. Any day during the summer, we'd go down there. We'd ride our bikes down Alhambra. We'd bug him to, "Hey, can we have free stickers? Can we have free parts?" And then he was always very gracious, but he never told us to get the hell out. Yeah. Well, when we started racing, that was the only team that I could ever think about getting on that I wanted to race for. Oh, wow. And I started late. I started when I was 16, but I ended up turning expert when I was still 16. After I raced for about 3 months, and I became expert. So once I became expert, he wanted me to watch me race. So we went out to Barstow. He watched me race. I won a triple pointer out in Barstow. So he got me on the team. And from then on, it was like, you think that I cured cancer or something, because I was so proud of getting on the Maine Bikes team.
You did it.
I did it, and I raced for Maine Bikes for my entire time when I was racing. So my favorite team was Maine Bikes.
Wow.
But if it's not Maine Bike, if it's another team, SC Racing was my favorite. Some of my favorite riders. Yeah. Scott Breithaupt was the owner and founder of SC, and that's probably my favorite team.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some history there. Shoot. As we wrap this up here, I'm sure many people are wondering the same thing, like, hey, BMX is great, love it, but I'm more of an old Schwinn beach cruiser, and I'm a 10-speed rider or something like that, but I want something vintage. Do you deal with anything else other than BMX?
No.
As of right now, though, but we never know what the future might hold.
Who knows what future holds, right? I try not to make the same mistake twice. So when I had my bike shop in Temecula, California, several years ago, I wanted to do a BMX shop only. And then I said, you know, I was getting I was getting second thoughts. Maybe I want to do more, so I did other things. I always go back to the BMX and what I know best. Yeah. I know BMX, that's where my passion is, so I'm going to try to stick with BMX for now. But who knows? But I'll still pick up if you have a road bike that needs to go somewhere and they won't ship it, call me. I'll get it for you.
Okay. So, hey, one last time, how do people contact you, man? Where would they find you again?
BMX Brokers, SouthernCalifornia.com.
Okay.
BMX Brokers, you could just search us on YouTube. You'll find we got probably about 15, 20 videos up. I take videos of me going to pick up the bikes. I have videos of me getting the bikes. I have videos of me explaining what I bought.
Very cool.
My mom actually made a couple of videos about about how I drove her crazy when I was younger.
Great.
So that. You can check me out on YouTube, and we have an Instagram page. We have Facebook groups, and that type of thing. And ironically, I got a lot of people, you know, call me and they say, "Hey, I got a bike out here. I'm in Florida. I'm in wherever throughout across the country. You know, would you be interested in buying my bike?" And I'll work out a deal with them over the phone, send them an air bill, and they box the bike up and
send it off to you.
Send it back to me, and it's like Christmas every day at my house.
That's terrific, man.
My wife calls you, "Hey, you know, there's 3 boxes by the front door."
Don't let them disappear.
Don't let them disappear. Exactly right.
Well, I got to tell you, this has been a thrill, just learning about this history and some of the details that I've never considered. Like I said, I grew up riding bicycles, but I never got that involved in it like you have. So it's an honor to sit here with you. I appreciate your time a lot and sharing all this great information with me. So
it's been my pleasure. And just, you know, I'm not the only guy that does this. There's thousands of us out there that do it. What makes me different from everybody else is that I relate to the entry-level collector more.
Okay.
So if you're an entry-level collector, you're an entry-level person where you're not exactly sure what's going on, I like to deal with that, and that's my bread and butter where I deal with a lot of people.
You seem like the kind of guy that anybody could just call up and say, "Hey, I got some questions."
Exactly right. Yeah. It you know, 30 seconds on the phone cost me nothing, and I'll tell you, hey, keep that bike, or it's fine. Get rid of it. No big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Kevin, thanks a lot, man. It was a pleasure.
No problem.
Good luck to you.
Please, thank you very much.
All right. Hey, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed all that information, that terrific interview with Kevin Wilson here. Please look for him on his sites, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you feel more comfortable, and contact him if you have any questions. But thanks for watching.